Part 50. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 491. Chapter 491. Zhou Fang looked Fang Ting up and down and said, "My son has not been educated well since he was a child. He went to harm other people's daughters, and he is still here saying that his son definitely did not do it. Have you seen the video? Have you listened to the recording? You don't know your son? Can't you hear that sound yourself? Disgusting people. By the way, Ning Luoluo is here. I'm going to check on the little girl. Oh, that little girl is also quite pitiful. She was originally a little princess, but in the end, she was wronged and even her own family didn't believe her. It's really pitiful, so pitiful." Zhou Fang said it again while shaking his head and entering. Fang Shuhua felt even more sorry for Ning Luoluo after hearing this. Feng Ling did not stop Zhou Fang from saying this. After all, Fang Shuhua and Fang Ting had problems with their family education, but Ning Luoluo had to bear all their problems. Now, it's time for them to make up for their losses. There's no need to go back and forth. I'm in the legal circle. I know the evidence is enough to convict you. It's useless for you to press me here. It's better to think about how to make your own son rehabilitate. Understood? Feng Ling said for a while, and then continued, if you had paid attention to that aspect of your son, maybe what happened at the beginning would not have happened. Your son's age should not have allowed him to live with other girls, but this point, at first, none of you cared. If any of you didn't teach Ning Luoluo any knowledge, you don't have this awareness yourself. Now, Ning Luoluo has to bear all the consequences, but each of you wants to shirk responsibility. You are really her good elders." Feng Ling left after finishing speaking. In her heart, there is no need to continue talking. She believes that those who understand will naturally understand, and she is too lazy to waste her words on those who don't understand. How is this possible? How is this possible? Fang Ting looked at Feng Ling's leaving figure in disbelief. After a long time, he came back to his senses. "Shuhua, calm down first, I'll ask Fang Jian, what's going on? You are still defending your son, right?" Fang Shuhua looked at Fang Ting resentfully. In fact, Feng Ling found it quite ridiculous. In fact, it was not entirely Fang Ting's fault. Half of Ning Luoluo's mess was caused by Fang Shuhua and Ning Jun. As long as they did some popular science, Ning Luoluo would not be like this. But what does their quarrel have to do with her? Feng Ling has never liked to deal with such things. She took a breath and then walked outside, but was suddenly hit by a child. "Yes, I'm sorry." The child seemed to be frightened and stood in front of Feng Ling a little scared, not daring to move. "It's okay, whose child are you?" Feng Ling glanced at the child. He was very thin and his face was dirty. No, the child's eyes dodged. Feng Ling glanced at his skull bag. "Are you from Yishintang?" Yishintang is an orphanage. Many orphans in the capital will be sent there. However, when the child heard Yishintang, he trembled obviously. Feng Ling frowned and had no intention of sending him directly to Yishin Hall. "You come home with me first." Feng Ling took him to Daijing. The child had never seen such a luxurious house. For a moment, he didn't know where he should stand. Feng Ling waved her hand and said, "Don't be too restrained. Just find a place to sit. If you get dirty, you'll get dirty. It doesn't matter. I'll find someone to clean you up then." "Thank you, sister." The child bowed to Feng Ling. Then he sat down obediently. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 492. Chapter 492. Feng Ling found some food for the child. Judging from his appearance, he probably hadn't eaten much, so Feng Ling didn't give him too much oil, but gave him some porridge and side dishes. You eat first, and then slowly tell me where you are from and why you are on the road alone. The child looked at the porridge for a long time. Finally, he probably couldn't bear it anymore, so he picked it up to eat. I don't have a name. I come from Yishintang. The ant there treated me badly, so I ran away. I don't want to go back there again. Sister, can you please not send me back? I can do anything. I am very obedient, as long as my sister is willing to take me in. The child looked at Feng Ling, his eyes full of expectation. I can't promise you now, Feng Ling said, because I also have my own family, but you can tell me about Yishintang, and maybe I can find a good way out for you in the future. The child thought for a while and nodded solemnly. Okay, Yishintang is not actually an orphanage. It is a place for human traffickers. After all the orphans are sent there, some of them will be sold. I have been pretending to be watching. Missing, so no one wants me. Later, I found a dog hole. Because I was blind, they were not so defensive about me, so I escaped last night. Then I ran here, because the hospital is the place with the largest flow of people, so I thought I could find a doctor or a security guard to save me. I didn't want to be sold. Their brothers, sisters, and younger brothers who were sold would all become. I don't want to be a slave in an adult family. I want to go to school, I want to become a useful person, I want to be an actor. Do you want to be an actor? Feng Ling suddenly became curious. Tell me, why do you want to be an actor? Because, my mother is an actor. The child lowered his head and said, but, my mother died. When I had no memory, the only thing I knew was the disc my mother gave me. In the disc, she told me that her name was Hao Fei and she was a first-line actor. However, because of heart disease, she didn't have long to live, so she recorded a video for me, hoping that I could live happily. I want to live with my mother's dream. I want to be an actor and see what the world my mother has seen is like. The child grabbed his clothes nervously. He was not sure whether the girl in front of him could agree to his request. He was betting, because if Feng Ling sent him back, he would have no chance. However, he didn't want to, he was unwilling to give in. Feng Ling curled her lips and said, okay, you can stay. Be my younger brother. Really? The child's eyes lit up. Feng Ling nodded, really, but at the same time, you must also become a good actor. Therefore, in the future, you will not only study, but also learn acting. I will train you from a child star. I hope that you can continue to be a good actor. Remember your dreams. Thank you, sister. I know, I will definitely do it. Since your mother's name is Hao Fei, then you should be called Hao Xing. I hope that in the future you can become the shining star like your name. Feng Ling said. To be honest, she really likes Hao Xing, that's why she said this. If not, she wouldn't be like this. She is not a person who sympathizes with others. The reason why she took Hao Xing in was just because she wanted to enter the entertainment industry in the future and Hao Xing could help her. Taken together, Feng Ling decided to adopt him. But, that Yishintang. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 493. Chapter 493. The Department of Medicine at Peking University has launched a competition in the past few days, which is a traditional Chinese medicine competition. A master of traditional Chinese medicine will come over and give a question bank of 5,000 questions. In this question bank, he will draw 80 questions, and then plus another 20 additional questions. The first place can follow this expert to the International Medical Alliance to take a look. The International Medical Alliance is a particularly awesome medical mecca. The medical experts there are all from prestigious universities around the world. So it is also a place that all medical people yearn for, so everyone was very excited when they heard that the big star was coming. Ping Ping, you should fight for this spot, Lin Qinruo said to Chen Pingping. Chen Pingping nodded, I want to give it a try, but I don't think I can beat Feng Ling. I'm not going, you can just go. Feng Ling was playing on her mobile phone and said something casually when she heard the two people below mention her. You're not going, that's the International Hospital Alliance. Chen Pingping was a little surprised. Feng Ling nodded, yes. I won't go. The main thing is, where is she from? The old man is still her student. Wouldn't it be very embarrassing for her to take the exam? It's just this kind of thing, it's hard to tell others. Because, no one will believe it. A long time ago, Feng Ling had already realized that when you are much more outstanding than others, you must learn to hide your clumsiness. Otherwise, others will only think that you are superior to others, but in fact, these are really just their problems. Daily. But there is no way to explain this. Maybe this is the barrier between geniuses and ordinary people. An ordinary person is always the same and the people around him are as ordinary as him. But obviously, she will not be like this. Okay, but Feng Ling, what questions do you think Mr. Yan will give us? Chen Pingping asked, thinking of the questions Feng Ling had asked before. Feng Ling thought for a while and said, in addition to the questions you are reading now, there should be practical exercises. You'd better get to know each medicine in person, including its taste and feel, and be able to take it with your eyes closed. Feel it and you're almost there. You are right, I will go to the medicine field tomorrow. There are many kinds of medicine in the medicine field of Beijing University. They often visit it when they study, so that they will remember it more firmly. Feng Ling curled her lips and said, well, come on. Feng Ling will also participate this time. Definitely, such an awesome person, such a tempting reward. However, she has been absent from classes recently, so I think it is unlikely that she will get the first place. I think Feng Shuang can do it after all, she has been number one in recent times. I feel so too. When everyone was discussing after class, Feng Shuang happened to hear it. She said, okay, don't talk about my sister like that. She is not interested in studying, so I don't mind whether she participates or not. If she participates, don't say anything else. She is a face-saving person, so if she loses, don't laugh at her. Of course I know you have no other intentions, but I'm afraid my sister will think too much. She doesn't work hard herself, why should she blame us for overthinking? That's right, I thought it was really great that I got first place in the college entrance examination. I could become a self-taught person without taking classes. In fact, what they said was right. If Feng Ling were here, she would definitely tell them that she was basically self-taught, because would save a lot of time than listening to the teacher's explanations, so later, she just started reading 10 lines at a time, very quickly. Furthermore, Feng Ling's ability to understand is very good, so after reading a book, she basically only doesn't understand a few questions. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 494. Chapter 494. However, no one will believe that Feng Ling has such an ability. They will only think that Feng Ling is a person who does not like to learn. As Feng Ling said, most people in this world are ordinary people, so only a small percentage of geniuses can be accepted. Moreover, this kind of genius must exist on the screen. They can tell the screen how such a genius was born, but they cannot live with such a genius in real life. Because, if this is the case, then they will have to compete for much less. However, they don't know that the genius they call has no intention of competing with them. Sister, the exam is coming soon, why don't you study? On this day, Feng Shuang happened to meet Feng Ling and said. Feng Ling was serving rice with Chen Pingping and Lin Qinruo when she suddenly heard Feng Shuangshuang's voice and frowned. She looked at Feng Shuangshuang and asked, "Is there something wrong?" "Sister, after all, you got into Beijing University with the top score. Although it is luck, you are also the presence of other schools on the official website. If you don't get a passable score this time, other schools will definitely laugh at us. I won't participate in this." Feng Ling took the meal and prepared to leave. She didn't quite understand that Feng Shuangshuang was staring at her every day because of God. After all, she didn't know where Feng Shuangshuang could keep staring at her. "Sister, how can you not take the exam? Then other schools will think that you don't dare at all. Moreover, this time Professor Zhou Fang comes in person and will take us to the International Medical Union. If you get first place in the exam, you can go." "I can go without taking the exam." Feng Ling was already in a very irritable mood. However, Feng Shuangshuang didn't understand Feng Ling's mood at all, and said, "Sister, what joke are you talking about? You can't get into the International Medical Alliance just by using Master Ye's connections. You have to know, young Master Ye can't help you with everything, you can't rely on him for everything, it's not good for you." Feng Shuangshuang seemed to be speaking very seriously. Feng Ling looked at her in confusion. "Who told you that I rely on Ye Qinghan? She and Ye Qinghan are two independent individuals. At least so far, apart from cooperation, no one has relied on the other." Feng Shuangshuang is simply delusional every day. Feng Shuangshuang listened to Feng Ling's tone and said, "Sister, I know I touched your heart and you are not happy, but this matter is indeed your fault. If you act like this, the teachers and leaders of the school will have opinions on you. They don't dare." Feng Ling curled her lips and looked at both of them. "Instead of worrying about me, it's better to think about yourself. Can I get into the top 10? After all, people who are not in the top 10 cannot even enter the threshold of the National Medical Association." Feng Ling smiled softly, then turned and left. Chen Pingping stopped and looked at Xiao Feng Shuangshuang. "I think you should not let Lingling participate, if you want to be in the top 10. According to regulations, only the top 10 will have a chance to be selected. In other words, only the top 10 will have the opportunity to meet Zhou Fang and be interviewed by him. No one wants to miss this opportunity, except Feng Ling." Feng Shuangshuang looked at Feng Ling and the others fiercely. "Just wait for me." She ran to the office, took out a form under the head teacher's desk, filled in Feng Ling's name, and signed up for Feng Ling herself. Since it was noon and everyone was eating, there was no one around. Feng Shuangshuang's actions could almost be said to be unnoticed. Soon, the list was announced. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 495. Chapter 495. Chen Pingping was shocked when she saw the word Feng Ling on the list. "Ling Ling, why is your name on it? Didn't you register?" Feng Ling paused while playing with her mobile phone, then glanced at the screen of Chen Pingping's mobile phone. "It was probably Feng Shuangshuang who helped me sign up. It's not like she has never done this kind of thing before. When she was young, she often competed with her. She signed up for a competition she didn't want to participate in. Later, in order to avoid such trouble, she simply got extremely bad grades. Feng Shuangshuang found it boring and stopped looking for her. Now, haha, this trick has happened again. It's true, after so many years, it doesn't bother her at all. What should we do, Lingling, are you really going to take the exam?" Chen Pingping frowned. There would still be no problem if Feng Ling went, but... Chen Pingping sighed. Feng Ling nodded. "I can go. Since she doesn't want the 10th position, I can let her sit in the 11th position. How can Lingling be sure that she will take the 11th place?" Feng Ling smiled, and Chen Pingping thought her smile was quite evil. "Just listen to what she said, because I know her ability. It's already very good that she can pass the test like this now, but don't forget, the next 20 points are not in the question bank. In other words, for these 20 points, they had no idea what problems Zhou Fang would have. However, based on her understanding of the little old man, he will definitely have questions that are combined with clinical reality. Okay, I will take care of this matter, don't worry, take the exam well and prepare to go to the National Medical Association. Lingling, are you so sure that I can take first place? Sure. Why? You were taught by me, Feng Ling said very confidently. Chen Pingping pursed her lips. So, the reason why the sister is so confident is because she is her student? How should I put it, this lady should be confident in herself. But to be honest, she also trusts Feng Ling very much, so she listens to Feng Ling and buys medicinal materials every day. Okay, I'll give you some questions 3 days before the exam. If you do all the questions, you should be able to win 80%. So many, Chen Pingping was surprised. Feng Ling nodded. She knew Zhou Fang too well, so she could definitely imagine what problems would happen to that guy Zhou Fang. It was because of this that she didn't want to compete. Who knew they could both be so impatient to wait? How should I put it, since she has already done all the tricks, I don't blame her for giving the first 9 questions a little more clarity. Actually, this can't be called a thorough question, because she didn't even see Zhou Fang at the scene, so she must be making up her own mind now. Soon, the day of the exam came. Zhou Fang was surprised when he saw the exam list. Are you sure that Feng Ling is going to take the exam? Okay, what's wrong, is there any problem? Okay. No, he just felt that it was a little strange to be a teacher in front of his little ancestor. After Zhou Fang entered the examination room, he saw his little ancestor at first sight. Unlike others, his ancestor was looking at the sun outside the window, admiring the sunrise and sunset. As expected of a young ancestor, Zhou Fang thought to himself. Feng Shuang saw Zhou Fang frowning at Feng Ling, and she knew that Feng Ling would lose her temper in front of such a big shot. The big shot would definitely not like her like this. He, she must be in the top 10. Feng Shuang cheered herself up and then started to do the questions seriously. They unexpectedly discovered that there were only 80 questions on this test paper, with 80 points and 20 points left. Just when everyone was confused, Zhou Fang spoke. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 496. Chapter 496. At this time, I believe most of you should have completed the first 80 minutes, then, the next 20 minutes are practice. Zhou Fang paused and said, you should all have mastered the functions of the corresponding herbs. Then, in the next time, I will give each of you a bag with a total of 5 herbs in it. Write their names and medicines. There are also side effects and contraindications. Zhou Fang took out a bunch of bags and distributed them. Immediately afterwards, I saw several people looking pale. They can't tell the difference. They only know the answer, and they have never thought about getting to know the medicinal herbs. Feng Shuang was also a little panicked, because she had no experience in this part at all. Chen Pingping's eyes lit up, and then she looked at Feng Ling. Feng Ling's ability to answer questions was really amazing, so amazing. Now, Chen Pingping could not wait to kneel down in front of Feng Ling. She took out the herbs and found that they were just a few from the range given to her by Feng Ling. Chen Pingping started writing without hesitation at all. Feng Ling glanced in Chen Pingping's direction, then nodded with satisfaction. Well, children can be taught. After an exam, everyone went out to discuss the exam. Oh my God, why are there 20 points of practice later? They didn't tell us, it's not fair. Who knows, in class, the teacher only said that we should get to know each other, but he didn't take us on a field trip. But I think Shuang should do well in the exam. I think she wrote a few. Actually, there aren't many, there are only 2 types, and they shouldn't be ranked very high. Feng Shuang pretended to be modest. Those people shook their heads. No, you have to be clear. This time, everyone was caught off guard. If you can write 2 more, it will definitely be in the top 10. Then thank you in advance. If I get into the top 10, I'll treat you to dinner. Thank you Shuang. It's great to have both. Feng Shuang smiled proudly and happened to see Feng Ling passing by. Feng Shuang stopped Feng Ling and said, Feng Ling, wait a moment. Sister, you should have done well in the exam after all, you came in first place. It's okay, Feng Ling said perfunctorily. Feng Shuang couldn't see her saying that the most, so she said, but today's 20 points are indeed more difficult. It's not easy for my sister to get 60 or 70 points this time. 60 or 70? It's too low, a girl said. Feng Shuang shook her head. You don't understand, my sister is actually not suitable for studying. She has always had poor academic performance when she was a child. It may be because of luck that she did so well in the college entrance examination. Maybe her husband should also help her review, right Feng Ling? Feng Shuang, you still like to imagine so much. Feng Ling looked at Feng Shuang and said, however, I regret to tell you that this time, I will be 1 point higher than you. Feng Ling curled her lips and then left. Feng Shuang didn't take it to heart at first, but what Feng Shuang didn't expect was that when the results came out, she found that Feng Ling's score was really 1 point higher than hers, and just because of this 1 point, she got stuck in 11th place. It is impossible for Feng Shuang to accept it, because she thinks that she is very good at reviewing. Feng Ling plays games sweetly and is not studying at all. How could he be braver than her? There must be someone behind the scenes. Feng Shuang exploded, Sister, why are you trying to take my place? Do you know how much I paid to get this position? Now, you can just find someone to help you and get rid of me just by memorizing the answers. This is not fair at all. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 497. Chapter 497. Seeing Feng Shuang getting angry, Feng Ling thought it was quite funny. She looked at Feng Shuang and said, why do you think I can never surpass you? As long as my grades are higher than yours, it's because I found someone and submitted the question. As long as I don't play with you, is it because I'm afraid and don't dare to compete with you? How many pounds do you think you weigh? Feng Shuang, I hope this is the last time, otherwise, next time, I will step on you even harder. Don't challenge my bottom line, never, because you can't afford it. Impossible, Feng Ling, stop. Do you believe it? Do you believe that a person who never attends classes can get such good grades? Do you believe that she really means 1 point higher than me when she says she wants to be 1 point higher than me? This is simply unreasonable, do you believe it? Look, none of you believe it, right? I believe. Chen Pingping stood up and looked at Feng Shuang and said, Lingling is smarter than you. If you are smarter than Lingling, will you give us the key points? Can you guess the teacher's psychology in every exam? You can't do it, but Lingling can do all of this. To be honest, Feng Shuang, don't you think that the things you are proud of now, Lingling doesn't even bother with? Since she doesn't even bother to do that, why do you think she should care about that? I don't care, this time, I must find a teacher. What's the matter? Lu Xiao suddenly appeared, and Feng Shuang saw Lu Xiao's eyes light up. Teacher, I have something to criticize. I want to say, this Feng Ling, did she cheat in the exam? Do you have evidence? he looked at Feng Shuangzuan with a wry smile and said a few words, then stopped talking. Feng Shuangzuan's whole body trembled. Then he said, I have evidence. Look at her high school grades. They have never been good, except for the last one. That is to say, in the 3 years of high school, except for the last time, her grades were at the bottom of a stable range. Such a person, suddenly the test results came in, why do you think we can't doubt her? You just have suspicions and no reasonable evidence. However, Professor Zhou Fang does have evidence. Lu Xiao stepped back and invited Zhou Fang out. Zhou Fang looked at the people around him and said, actually, monitoring medicinal herbs should be something you are familiar with. It's actually not that strange that Feng Ling knows. Because this is a basic requirement for a medical university student. However, I want to say that you can't recognize it. One girl can only recognize 2 girls. I don't think beauty will make much progress in the future. This time I have chosen to let Chen Pingping and I visit the International Medical Union. Where, if you like it, we can collaborate in the future. Chen Pingping looked at Zhou Fang a little flattered. Really, teacher? Real? Thank you, teacher. Chen Pingping bowed to Zhou Fang, then looked at Feng Ling and said, teacher, can I take Feng Ling with me? After all, if it weren't for Feng Ling, there wouldn't be me this time. Well, it's up to you. By the way, classmate Feng Ling, are you willing? Zhou Fang is looking forward to taking the international exam for his little ancestor. After all, if the little ancestor is not willing, then they can't force it. However, let Zhou Fang was happy that something made several people meet again. Therefore, Zhou Fang is particularly looking forward to her little ancestor coming over. The little old men over there are already waiting for her to lose all her hair, especially as the number of projects has been increasing day by day. Those little old men are saying every day that if it would be nice if Feng Ling was here, so he could help them. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 498. Chapter 498. Feng Ling shrugged and said, I can do either. She really doesn't care. Feng Shuang almost got angry to death when she heard Feng Ling say this. However, because Zhou Fang was away, she didn't have the ability to say anything. Xin Chen, Dr. Hao is coming to the school to give a lecture this week, will you go? Dr. Hao Xingchen's finger that was about to click to send paused, then slowly turned his head to look at Lin Fan. The body covered by the loose nightgown felt a little stiff. Lin Fan didn't notice anything unusual about his roommate, and nodded excitedly, yes, he's the medical master who developed a vaccine against the X virus, but he's awesome, haven't you heard of it? Speaking of which, you and he have the same last name, so maybe you were a family in the previous life. Lin Fan looked at Hao Xingchen with envy. It would be great if she could have the same surname as Hao Xingchen. Rounding things off, she also has a slight relationship with Dr. Hao. Maybe in reality, he and I are also the same family. Hao Xingchen laughed at himself, and finally pressed the send button after shackles for a long time. The file is titled Process of Making the New X Virus Vaccine. Recipient, National Medical Association. Sender, Star. After doing this, Hao Xingchen closed the computer and saw Lin Fan's big face quietly appeared in his field of vision. Lin Fan's rough hands pinched his fair face with a few faint red marks. Howda miss, what are you thinking about in broad daylight? If you were Dr. Hao's daughter, would you still be here now? Peking University School of Medicine may sound like a fancy name, but in fact it is the worst department at Peking University, a third-rate college among many 985/211 schools. Of course ordinary people can do it, but what is Dr. Hao's height? His child should be a top student in Chinese medicine like Hao Yi. Besides, Dr. Hao has always had only one son, Hao Yi, but he has never heard of another son, Hao Xingchen. Hao Xin-chen slapped Lin Fan's fleshy hand away with a palm, and said in a very familiar tone, "Miss Lin, I don't daydream, and you don't have dreams either. Don't think that I don't know why you went to Hao Jun's lecture. In the past 2 years, Hao Jun has come to Beijing University to give speeches not 10 times but 8 times. Except for the time when Hao Yi came with him, Lin Fan had never been there. Meeting a medical master is fake, but meeting a handsome guy is real." Lin Fan touched his nose after being exposed. Hao Yi is the school idol of the National Medical University. He has good grades and is handsome. He is still a little girl. How can he not be attracted by love? As he spoke, Lin Fan moved her chubby body, showing a hint of the shyness of a daughter. Hao Xin-chen sneered, picked up the pharmacology beside him and covered Lin Fan's fat face. "Then you can continue to be romantically attracted to your brother Hao Jun." "Hey, Hao Xin-chen, where are you going? Are you going to the lecture on Friday or not?" After Lin Fan got some pharmacology books, he found that Hao Xin-chen had put on his white coat and opened the door and walked out. Lin Fan curled his lips and sat back in his seat. He really didn't know that those words had offended this little ancestor again. After leaving the dormitory, Hao Xin-chen turned to the library next to Beijing University. It was just established this year. The owner is an old man and he only opened the shop to make a living. Hao Xin-chen is a frequent visitor here, and because few people come to the library, the owner directly gave Hao Xin-chen a separate study room. Hao Xin-chen turned on his computer, and a series of messages flashed out on QQ, all from a person called the God of ATM. Hao Xin-chen clicked on it and found that it was full of 10 or 20 seconds of voice. The girl frowned and moved the mouse to click on the video call. The next second, a face that made countless girls' crazy hearts appeared on the screen. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 499. Chapter 499. Aren't you on your honeymoon in Paris? Why don't you accompany your little girlfriend to me? Hao Xin-chen looked behind the man, looking at the sun, the beach, the deck chairs, and the various couples, none of which was the little girlfriend Hua Qingqing mentioned. "I felt it was inappropriate and we broke up peacefully." Hao Xin-chen paused. "How much did you pay this time?" "It's not much, just 3 million." When Hua Qianleng mentioned the money, he hesitated a little. "Star, do you think I paid less? I feel like when this girl broke up with me, she smiled like a fool." "It's the same, it's not because you are too sad and reluctant to let me go, so you are stupid to be extremely sad, right?" Hao Xin-chen, "No, you're a stupid guy who has money and nothing to spend it on. People just think he's making crazy money." She glanced at the name noted for Hua Qianleng and felt that ATM was shining with holy light at this moment. "By the way, I saw the email you sent to the National Medical Association. What do they think?" "Of course I'm with you. Hao Jun and his colleagues spent more than half a year creating a vaccine with extremely strong side effects, and no one dares to put it into clinical use in large quantities now. What's more, Hao Jun, the so-called doctoral supervisor, is mediocre in scientific research. If Hao Yi hadn't stolen your semi-finished product this time, they could have made a vaccine with half a bucket of water hanging in their heads." Half a year ago, Hao Xin-chen left the printed vaccine research progress in his room. When he came back from school, the bound paper was gone. The next day, I saw the news that Hao Jun and Hao Yi were on the news. What is suffocating is that what Hao Jun and Hao Yi released to the National Medical Association was exactly the same as what Hao Xin-chen printed out, without changing a single word. Hua Qingqing, who participated in the research process half a year ago, now feels a little angry. When are you going to make your research public? Hao Jun and Hao Yi, the two shameless men, have occupied Star's name for more than half a year. They are also Star's biological father and brother. When thinking about this matter, Hua Qianleng felt that her fists were a little hard. If Hao Xingchen hadn't told him not to worry and she would handle the matter herself, he would have exploded by now. Okay. This family only needs 3 words written on their faces: shameless. It's almost time. Hao Xingchen looked calm. When they stand at the top, it's time to announce all my research results. The current research plan has not yet carried out clinical drug trials. This period of time is enough for us to perfect the vaccine. When Hao Xingchen returned home, Hao Jun's family was having dinner. The moment she opened the door and stepped into the house, the originally cheerful atmosphere suddenly turned cold. Hao Xingchen, where have you been fooling around again? Can a girl know some sense of shame like Nian Nian? Fang Shuhua got a headache when she saw Hao Xingchen. Her daughter has been causing trouble in all kinds of ways since she was in kindergarten. I was once ordered to drop out of the kindergarten. For a while, Fang Shuhua took Hao Xingchen to all the hospitals to consult with psychiatrists whether Hao Xingchen had a personality or behavioral disorder. The answer is no. But, if not, how could she be so unsociable? How could Xianian's father be killed in the later incident because he didn't listen to the police? Since then, Hao Xingchen has not strived for advancement and has only slept all day long. Slacker student. Her face was completely ruined by Hao Xingchen. I went to the library to do something, so I came back late. Hao Xingchen has long been accustomed to Fang Shuhua's behavior. Take off your shoes and get ready to go upstairs. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 500. Chapter 500. Stop. Fang Shuhua sternly scolded Hao Xingchen, I didn't care about you in the past, but after the new year you have to marry Nian Nian to the wrong family. Every move you make represents the Hao family, so from now on, you must learn from me, be a lady to everyone. Go to the wrong family to marry Xianian. Hao Xingchen turned around slowly and looked at Fang Shuhua, his eyes strange and distant. Why didn't anyone tell me? She knew that Xianian was engaged to the wrong family, but later the young prince of the wrong family was also involved in that incident. From then on, the young prince became a porcelain doll, and a small wound would cause the bleeding wouldn't stop. Similar to hemophilia, it cannot be treated according to the treatment plan for hemophilia. Because of this incident, the little prince's personality suddenly changed and he became violent. Hao Xingchen thought they would cancel the engagement between Xianian and Song Jingchu. Unexpectedly, Hao Jun and Fang Shuhua directly put Xianian's engagement on her head. Hao Xingchen, you must agree to this matter, don't forget who killed Nian Nian's father. As long as you have some sense of conscience, you shouldn't refuse this matter. And Fang, stop talking. If Sister Xingchen doesn't want to, just let me marry her. After all, I am the one engaged to Master Wrong. Xianian was in the corner, her voice was soft, and her deer-like eyes were filled with tears that seemed to fall but not fall. Fang Shuhua was so distressed that she held Xianian in her arms and patted her silently to comfort her. She looked at Hao Xingchen with sharp eyes. Hao Xingchen, what on earth did I do to give birth to such a dead star like you? You harmed Nianyan's father, do you still want to harm Nian Nian now? I know, I'll marry you. Hao Xingchen kicked the chair aside in annoyance. He said to Xianian with a cold face, Xianian, remember, what I owe you has been fully paid off from now on. Boom. Hao Xingchen returned to the room and slammed the door hard, causing a loud noise. The phone in his pocket had been vibrating for a while, but Hao Xingchen was too lazy to answer it. He stared at the ceiling for half an hour before slowly taking out the phone from his pocket. I crossed out those messy messages, found Hua Wuking's QQ, and sent a message, in 10 minutes, I want all the information about Song Jingchu. The god of ATM. Song Jingchu? Xingchen, you have fallen, you actually look at Yan Charan. If nothing else, Song Jingchu's appearance is recognized as high. Hao Xin Chen, what does he look like? Hua Qingqing. She is worthy of being a woman who was born solo for 10,000 years. ATM God, if you don't know what other people look like, why are you searching them? Hao Xin Chen, my mother asked me to marry him after the year. ATM God, damn, is your mother crazy or am I crazy? No, you agreed. Hao Xin Chen, it should have been Xianian. Hua Wuking was silent. 10 minutes later, he sent a document to Hao Xin Chen, and then called her, Xin Chen, you were also a victim of what happened back then. You don't owe Xianian anything. The people who killed the moon back then captured many children and prepared to plant chips in their bodies. Make these children their puppets. Hao Xin Chen is one of the children who was implanted with a chip. While Xianian's father, Xia's Hixing, was rescuing them, the chip in Hao Xingchen's body was interfered by the people of Jiu, releasing a strong electric current. Hao Xin Chen was only 8 years old at the time. The severe pain that even adults could not bear made Hao Xin Chen directly expose their traces. Xia's Hixing sacrificed himself in order to protect them. But the chip matter is too involved, so no one knows about it except the top leaders of the country and the victims of the year. Everyone believes that Hao Xingchen's disobedience to police instructions led to Xia's Hixing's death. End of this chapter.